And an absolute phenomenal job by Mariana Aiello, number 14 on our own Caldwell Cougars team. Nick, isn't that wild? Somebody playing in this meet today or competing in this meet today, singing the national anthem.
It's incredible to witness. As we said before, this is going to be one of the most exciting events of the year. As the Stevenson Mustangs, Trevor Spinelli would like to read out the starting lineups.
Number 1, Annabelle Rousseau. Number 2, Mariana Ruiz. Number 3, Alexis Fortier. Number 5, Paige Sokolowski. Number 6, Emily Owens. Number 7, Emma Bresnik. Number 9, Kayla Yeager. Number 10, Trinity Poltrak. Number 11, Jaden Jacobs. Number 12, Peyton Marston. Number 14, Zanaya Dawson. Number 15, Kaya Jenkins. Number 16, Mackenzie Estes. Number 18, Marissa Werkheiser. Number 19, Ava Vaccarella. Number 20, Hannah Kepler. Number 22, Landon Connolly. Number 23, Kira Warner. Number 24, Robin Scroger. Number 28, Bridget Corey. And number 42, Allison Ozemick.
Very fun and exciting lineups.
Very deep rosters for both teams. This is a sport where, you know, you can carry up to 28 people on a roster. And for many of these events, it's good to have a lot of depth.
Indeed, there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of talent on both of these rosters as we are getting ready to start event number 1, which is compulsory. Each team competes an identical predetermined set of skills with a predetermined starting value of 10. There are 4 heats that include acro, pyramid, toss, and tumbling. Each heat can score up to a perfect 10 with a total combined event score of 40 points. Compulsory skills are considered to be the building blocks of acrobatics and tumbling and reviewed by the committee every 3 years. As me and Trevor Spinelli will go silent and get ready for you to enjoy the first event, compulsory.
What a great display there from Stevenson, finishing it off with a Stangs chant.
Indeed, very much so. A great job all around by Stevenson. And it looks like we're going to get ready now for part 2 of compulsory. Everything on that looked very, very crisp, Trevor. Everything looked well executed and well timed out. It was a great job execution all around by the Mustangs.
It really was, and you see the team support on the right from the fellow Mustangs, and really a commutative sport.
Indeed, you need to have strong community, a strong building blocks, and a great sense of trust, too. Don't forget, these girls, they're flying very high up into the air.
That is a great point, and so much risk and danger involved, and, you know, one little slip. I mean, that's why the mat's there, but one little slip, something could go the wrong way. You never know, and this sport is risky, but makes it even more fun to watch and so rewarding, too.
Indeed. While we are waiting for the next part, we would like to say, for news, information, video highlights, and more of all your favorite Cougars teams, check out the official CaldwellAthletics.com website. Facebook, X, and Instagram are also great ways to follow the Cougars. Search Caldwell University Athletics on Facebook or follow at Caldwell Cougars on X and X in Instagram.
Here come the Cougars of Caldwell University to start their heat.
Indeed, we will go silent and let you enjoy this Cougars team.
What a job by the Cougars. Great job in the beginning of that heat by Cadence Vining, holding her balance on the top and recovering there. What a flawless routine, Nick.
You said that. That was incredible execution we saw all around. An amazing job all around by both teams. Very well executed, very crisp. And we're going to get set now, as that was the acro heat. And we're getting set now for the pyramid heat. So this should be a very fun and interesting meet. Don't you believe so, Trevor? And what are you liking so far from what you've seen by both teams?
Just so much energy, so much fun, and so much trust, as you mentioned, like we saw in that last Cougar routine. You know, when things might have looked like one slip here or there, the recovery is so impressive. Obviously, these girls, they practice so much together, but, I mean, if I was up there, I think I'm falling down there.
I think you have to have a great display of balance, and we're seeing that by both teams, as we see on the right side of the screen.
Stevenson kicking off.
Stevenson will kick off the pyramid heat of the compulsory event. And ladies and gentlemen, the Steven Mustangs. And the iconic Stangs chant will end off an excellent performance that we just saw from the Stevenson Mustangs. Again, very well executed. Both teams executing at a very, very high level we're seeing early in this meet. As we get set and get ready for the Cougars, as they will enter up in the pyramid heat. And of course, the primary purpose of the compulsory event is safety. You need to have a very strong amount of safety. Compulsory skills, they allow for safe progression of skill difficulty. And we are getting ready very, very soon as we see the Cougars are all lined up on the opposite side of the gym.
Stevenson coached by Megan Derpsies, and the Cougars are coached by Amira Boyd.
And speaking of Amira Boyd, we see her down in the corner of her screen warming up and getting these Cougars ready as they take the floor.
And they take on the pyramid. What a performance by the Cougars, and you have to think, Nick, will the double pyramid get them more points than the Mustangs, having two going at once, the balance from both sides, and perfect timing?
I believe so. Perfect execution. We're seeing both of these teams very early on. We see very well disciplined and very well coached by both of these squads, and you saw immediately Coach Amira Boyd when they nailed that double pyramid. She was jumping for joy. She was very, very excited, and we were too up here.
We were going crazy, and you saw the support from the Cougars teammates. They know that they hit that flawlessly. It's probably the loudest we've heard either team so far early on here. And
indeed, and you're just seeing the energy on both sides. Both teams very clapping, very vocal about these performances. And it's been incredible to watch. And also, let's not forget, as Stevenson, they get ready for the toss portion of the compulsory event. As in the toss, it'll be number 1, Annabelle Rousseau. Number 2, Mariana Ruiz. Number 7, Emma Brenzak. Number 23, Kira Warner. And number 24, Robin Scroger. Number 3, Alexis Fortier. Number 10, Trinity Poltrak. Number 11, Jaden Jacobs. Number 16, Mackenzie Eastis. Number 42, Allison Ozimek. And number 9, Kayla Yeager. As here come the Mustangs. Great job, as we just saw from the Mustangs. Solid execution all around. And we get ready as the Cougars are going to take the mat. As for the Caldwell Cougars on the toss, number 1, Katintz Vining. Number 24, Zamaya Mosley. Number 14, Mariana Aiello. Number 22, Janice Jackson. Number 12, Nicole Lopez. Number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice. Number 10, Janessa Morales. Number 15, Alexa Bain. Number 5, Isabella Garcia. Number 8, Alaya Cardone. And number 3, Naija Gums are going to be stepping out onto the mat very soon for the Caldwell University Cougars, as this will be the 3rd heat in the compulsory event.
Let's see what the Cougars have in store here. As they've put up some outstanding performances so far, kind of going with a stacked look in multiple groups in these events, which is unique compared to the Mustangs. So let's see what they have in store.
Good gracious, this gym is jumping. Me and Trevor nearly fell out of our seats. That was incredible what we just saw.
Going with the double flip there, and almost looked over on the right at the Stevenson Mustangs, and their faces were lifted in the air too, like, oh my.
Incredible execution all around.
And to pull that out so early in this and go for something so risky and challenging, I mean, got to give credit to the Cougars, and got to give credit to Coach Boyd in her first season.
Talking to Coach Boyd, she is someone who says we are a risk-taking team. We will do whatever it is and whatever it takes to win a match. And we're seeing Coach Boyd pull out all the stops very early on, as now we get set for the final part of the compulsory event. It is the tumbling heat.
And I'm excited for this one.
This is
a lot of action.
This is going to be fun. As for Stevenson in tumbling, number 1, Annabelle Rousseau. Number 10, Trinity Poltruck. Number 16, Mackenzie Estes. And number 2, Mariana Ruiz.
And the Mustangs will kick off tumbling here with their group of 4. And barring a little slip in the beginning on one of those backflip attempts, a great recovery from the Mustangs, using great teamwork to get back on track.
Indeed, you said a very early slip-up, a minor slip-up, but the Mustangs ended strong, as that will end off the Mustangs portion of the compulsory event as the Caldwell Cougars get set for their tumbling action. And we are just so excited. I mean, we're seeing the energy in this gym particularly. This gym has been buzzing.
I'm just like, what are they going to pull out next, you know?
Very, very excited. Don't forget, in the tumbling includes both the standing tumble and the running tumble. So both portions are included in the tumbling portion. we get ready, both teams trying so desperately to earn the max possible amount of 40 points in this event.
For the tumbling roster for the Cougars, you have Cadence Vining, Isabel Garcia, Jill Riggio, Elia Cordone, Piper Fitzmaurice, and Mariana Aiello, with 2 others as well.
This is going to be very, very exciting as we see Coach Boyd chatting it up with some of her players. And I say this, Coach Boyd brings an incredible energy to this roster.
She really does. Energy, excitement, youth, a lot of different things.
A lot of different things, and passion, certainly. That's been the key. Talking to some of the women on this team, passion is one of the key words that they always use to describe Coach Boyd. She's very passionate about this roster.
And a really good crowd here, too.
Indeed, an excellent turnout as we are seeing in the Newman Center, live on Mark A. Carino Court. Normally we're usually here for a bit of some basketball action, but instead we're here for some exciting acrobatics and tumbling action today. And we just keep seeing more and more students of the Caldwell University filing in to the gym. There's been a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement around this event today.
A lot of excitement on this event. We've been hyping it up on the basketball broadcast here on the network for weeks, months now. So to finally be here and witness it live as the Cougars are getting ready to start their tumbling, and Jerry Milani introducing them. And here we go, partner.
Here we go. The Cougars take the floor.
Perfect is the Cougars' performance.
Excellent job. You described it as perfect. I would describe that as well. Flawless execution, and I was seeing
the timing and the synchronization there.
That is a very big key. A lot of energy. The execution, the timing of all that was excellent. I was seeing Coach Boyd down by the mat. She was jumping for joy. Her team has been looking outstanding today, as that will conclude the end of the compulsory event, as the judges will begin scoring, and we will soon get on with event 2, which is the acro event. Now, there's a 45-second time limit for each heat. Each heat has a required number of elements and must include a specific level of skill difficulty. Teams will create their own sequences to meet the heat requirements, allowing teams to select skills based on their strengths. Overall difficulty comes from the connection of skills in the sequence or the ability to maintain control, continuity, and stability throughout. And some of the keys, Trevor, if you would like to go over some of the keys for execution, as they include...
Yeah, Nick, so they include strong body position of the top, of course, stability from the base, and maintaining balance. Similar things we saw in the compulsory heat, but putting it together here in the acro heat.
Indeed, and don't forget there are 3 different heats. The first heat is a 5-element heat. The second heat is a 6-element heat. And the third heat, the most challenging heat, is a 7-element heat. We're seeing both these teams pull out all the stops early on. Let's see how many more tricks do they have in their bags as we get ready for the numerous element heats.
Check out the CACC Network, the official digital network of the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference. The network encompasses all original programming from Caldwell Athletics and the entire CACC. You can access the network on both your desktop and mobile/tablet devices, as well as OTT platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, and Apple TV. The official website is caccnetwork.com, while the CACC Network app is available for iOS in the App Store and Android on Google Play.
Guy Cobo, Trevor Spinelli here, and we're seeing now on our scores table, seeing the scores being implemented here. We will read those out in just a second. Trevor, what have you been liking so far as you're seeing from both of these teams?
Obviously, the collaborativeness, the teamwork, but the energy, the ability to recover in moments where the synchronization and balance isn't as strong as it can be.
It's a great point as we're seeing right now. The scores being updated. Currently, the score stands as the Stevenson Mustangs currently sit with a total score of 22, and the Caldwell University Cougars sit with a total score of 28.
And if you want to know how we got to those numbers, we can go over each heat here. Is Stevenson got a 5.3 in acro, 6.9 in pyramid, 7.7 in toss, 2.0 in tumbling to equal their 22 total score. And the Cougars 7.1 in acro, 9.1 in pyramid, a phenomenal score in pyramid for the Cougars, 8.9 in toss, 3.3 in tumbling, and that totals their 28 score. So a 6-point lead after the first event for the home team here, the Caldwell Cougars.
We did see tumbling was kind of been a rough spot for both of these teams, but nonetheless solid execution throughout by both teams. As we get set now for event 2, which is acro. As each heat of the 3 heats in acro can earn you up to a perfect 10 points with a total combined score of up to 30 points. So particularly if you are Stevenson, if you're looking to get back into this meet, you are going to need a big acro event.
You definitely are, but this is not out of reach by any moment at all. Like, they can come back.
Indeed, it is not.
One event, 2 events. I mean,
that is a great point, Trevor. 1 or 2 solid executions throughout. And here we go as the Stevenson Mustangs will get set as they start
their 5 element here in acro. And great strength there by the bases on the 5 element for the Mustangs. Another good recovery there, and see what the Cougars have in store.
That was a great job by the Mustangs. Very good execution throughout. As the Caldwell University Cougars, as they line up and they get set for their portion of the acro event, as they start off with the first heat with a 5 element. We're seeing a unique lineup by Coach Boyd. That includes Jill Riggio, Piper Fitzmaurice, Mariana Aiello, Nicole Lopez, and McKenna Lanza. That is number 7, number 9, number 14, number 12, and number 11 for the Cougars. And we're just seeing just a packed crowd here in the Newman Center. A lot of energy, a lot of buzz we mentioned before around this event today. As we will soon start with the 5 element portion of acro for the Caldwell University Cougars.
Of course, the 5 element, 6 element, and 7 element, the 3 heats in this acro event. As you mentioned earlier, Nick, the 5 element just finished up for the Mustangs, and the Cougars about to take the floor. It's Jerry Milani about to announce it over the speaker here. And
Jerry Milani, our sports and media director, doing a great job being on the PA today. Yeah, we see Coach Boyd talking, Coach Amira Boyd talking with 2 of her players. We mentioned before high energy, and we're seeing on the Mustang side as well, coaches and athletes talking to each other. Communication has been key.
That was Coach Boyd talking to Cadence Vining and Isabella Garcia, and you got to be proud of both those 2 women and their performances so far as the Cougars take the floor. And great balance and execution there by the flyer, Piper Fitzmaurice. Great core strength as well, keeping herself up. The first backflip was flawless. And
you said it right there. Great balance, great execution all around by the Cougars. And we see down by the judges' table a little bit of some grading going on for that 5 element. Both teams, very well execution.
And you got to imagine if a score is close and in the sport in general, near the end, the drama with the scores going up in that last event.
Indeed.
Both teams looking over.
Indeed, and let's not forget, in that final event, which is the team event, there is a maximum amount of 110 points that can be scored in event 6, which is the team event. And then also in event 5, which is the tumbling event, you could get a maximum of 60 points. So you could very simply be down for a huge portion, but if you pull out a very solid tumbling event and a very solid team event, you could be right back into this meet and even possibly take the lead. So we're seeing no fear, no hesitation on both sides as the 6 element for the Stevenson University Mustangs will take the floor. Don't go anywhere. Here are the Mustangs. Great job by the Stevenson University Mustangs. Great execution all around. It's going to be exciting to see how Caldwell responds to that. Me and you both looked at each other and we said, that was a very well executed heat we saw by Stevenson.
Very well executed and their first flawless in our opinions. You know, they've had in a while. Great teamwork and great balance there from both flyers that went up. And Mustangs are going to need performances like that to come back in this one. Still a 6-point game.
Indeed, it is still 6 points, which we did mention before at the outset. 6 points may seem like a decent amount, but in this sport, one solid event can easily turn the entire tide of this match.
100%. I mean, you have an event with a max point of 10. Let's say a team maxes out at 10 and the other one gets 1, you know, and be right back in the lead.
Turn the whole thing around.
That's what makes this sport so exciting. Not only the action on the floor, the dynamic scoring, and how hard these girls work to be out on top.
Indeed, the women on both of these teams, incredibly hard workers. It takes a lot of courage. We said this before. It takes a lot of courage to perform some of these routines.
It really does. We've talked about the dangers, you know. The chances of injuries
is very, very high as we see the Cougars now as they take the floor. And here come the Caldwell University Cougars.
And an unfortunate slip up there on the right-hand side of that stack going up, and that'll dock the Cougars some points here and give the Mustangs a chance to take the 6th element, but nonetheless, good recovery on the second half of that heat.
You said it right there. We saw a bit of some slippage there, but nonetheless, still a very well-executed routine by both of these rosters. And sooner or later,
We will get ready as the 7th element. This has been one of the tougher things to really prepare for, is 7 elements, as the Stevenson Mustangs will get set for their 7th element. And who is going to be on the floor for Heat 3, which is the 7th element, Trevor?
Annabelle Rousseau, Mariana Ruiz, Robin Scrozier, Jaden Jacobs, and another participant as well.
Indeed. We will read out the Caldwell University side when they step onto the floor. But right after this, ladies and gentlemen, is Event 3, which is the Pyramid event. In the Pyramid event, teams compete in 3 individual heats, building pyramids of 3 layers. So we're going to see some very fun action coming up soon in the Pyramid event. Teams combine in entry, structure, and dismount to create a pyramid. Each heat has a different requirement. Inverted body position for the top, synchronized and open. Each heat may score up to a perfect 10, with a total combined score in this event of up to 30 points. So we said before, maybe a bit of some stumbling we're seeing by both of these teams in the acro event. They could easily make that score back in the pyramid event.
Very good point, Nick. And here come the Stevenson Mustangs for their 7-element performance. Let's give them a watch. And great balance on top there. Of course, the first landing down in that heat wasn't as perfect as it could be, but the second half was for sure.
Indeed, and it's always scary when we see these landings. We saw before when one of the women on, I believe it was Stevenson, landed. We both kind of jolted at our knees. We're saying, oof, our knees, I don't know how they managed to land.
I mean, these
so
women,
great,
so athletic, so impressive, the things that they can do with their bodies and flexibility, right?
Indeed, as we get set now for the Caldwell University Cougars, as they will take the floor in just a short moment. So who's stepping out in the 7 element for Caldwell University? That's number 10, Janessa Morales. Number 1, Katance Vining. Number 8, Alaya Cardone. And number 14, Mariana Aiello will step out for the Caldwell University Cougars as they are getting set for their 7th element in the acro event. And then sooner or later we will see, right after that, we see in the pyramid, there are 3 heats in the pyramid event. So it should be a very fun and exciting event, as we have said before. Been a lot of buzz in this gym. A lot of noise has been made in this gym. A lot of fun crowd interactions we are seeing. And here come the Caldwell University Cougars as they take the floor. Let's give them a watch, ladies and gentlemen. Well executed all the way throughout. The Cougars are very, very excited. And that will conclude the acro portion of this acrobatics and tumbling event. And very soon we will see the pyramid event get started.
Very soon we will also see the scores for the acro event.
The scores are being entered in. While the scores being entered in, we would like to say that Cougar Pride is the official booster club for Caldwell University Athletics. Cougar Pride gives Cougar fans an opportunity to get involved and play an active role in supporting Caldwell University Athletics and its student athletes. Contact the Cougar Pride coordinator at 973-618-3567. That is 973-618-3567 or cougarpride@caldwell.edu to sign up now. And for those of you who are wondering what is next for Cougar sports, women's and men's basketball are back here on Wednesday for their final home game of the regular season, hosting Post. It is a 5:30 start for women and a 7:30 start for men.
So excited for both of those games. Women's team coming off a phenomenal performance and a tough loss against a ranked Jefferson, and the men's team coming off a tough loss against Jefferson as well. Both of them should look to rebound on Wednesday.
Indeed. And then what also is next? Acrobatics and tumbling. If you would like what you see right now, don't go anywhere, as Acrobatics and Tumbling will visit LIU and Georgian Court on March 20th, then back here at the Newman Center on March 27th against Buffalo State. Bowling will visit the CACC Invitational on March 2nd and March 3rd. Men's lacrosse opens up at Franklin Pierce on Saturday, March 2nd. And softball, baseball, women's lacrosse, and track and field are all beginning their respective seasons in the next month, as we are seeing the scores being entered in. And we see now Stevenson University, the Mustangs, managed to get a score of 21 in this event. As, pardon me, we are seeing a live change. I apologize, folks. A live change to the score.
It's going to stay around that 21 mark. Cougars score being inserted now for the 7 element. And the Mustangs finished this event total with 21, and their total score is now up to 43. While the Cougars finished this event total with 20, so 1 point below the Mustangs, and they're now sitting at 48. So, or 49, my apologies, and a 6-point lead still for the Caldwell Cougars.
Indeed, and you and me both mentioned maybe that bit of stumbling that we saw by the Cougars in the 6th element might have dinged them a few points, as that will give the Stevenson University Mustangs the win in the acro event.
But a very, very, very tight score of .07. The Mustangs beat the Cougars by a little individual score action for you guys. And the 5 element, Stevenson scored a 7.1. The 6th element, Stevenson scored a 6.3. And the 7 element, Stevenson scored a 7.5, while in the 5 element, the Cougars scored a 7.2. The 6 element, the Cougars scored a 4.6. And the 7 element, the Cougars scored a whopping 8.5 to get to their 20 total. Teams, after that first event, staying around the same differential from each other as the Mustangs start in the pyramid.
Great job by Stevenson University, starting off the pyramid event. That is the first heat.
That is the inversion heat, and not the perfect landing the Mustangs were hoping for there, but a solid performance nonetheless, as the Cougars are ready to take the floor in the inversion.
The inversion heat as well, as we see Coach Amira Boyd chatting it up with some of the women on this roster. And so far, this event, or this entire match in general, has really lived up to the expectations. We've seen a lot of fun and exciting action, great crowd, great energy by both teams.
I would say so far it has lived up to the hype it's garnered. And we see down below our sports and media director, Jerry Milani. He is not only the man on the PA today, he's also the man running the entire table as well. Our incredible judges we see.
See the judges down there and putting in their scores after the events to be revealed at the end of each event. And here come the Cougars to take the floor for their version of inversion.
Very well executed, we see, by the Caldwell University Cougars. Great landing, great balance all around. And the Cougars with an excellent start in the pyramid event, as they did a great job in that inversion heat. As we get set sooner or later for the synchronized heat of the pyramid.
Such exciting and riveting action so far here.
Said it, a lot of exciting action. It's really lived up to a lot of the expectations.
To the hype.
Indeed, the hype has been real today. And we see a big group for the Stevenson University Mustangs.
Very big, deep group as they come out for their synchronized heat in pyramid. And a phenomenal performance there by the Mustangs. Great job by all the women on the floor. Balance, timing, teamwork, all of it.
It was a great job. As the Caldwell University Cougars get set before they step out onto the floor for their version of the synchronized heat. The schedule for the Caldwell Acrobatics and Tumbling team, as obviously today they take on Stevenson. Then on March 20th, as we mentioned before, they are at Georgian Court and LIU. That's a 6 p.m. start.
Joint meet.
Indeed. And March 27th, they're home against Buffalo State with a 6 p.m. start. And then April 2nd, they're at Kutztown University. That is a 6 p.m. start. And then April 7th, they are at East Stroudsburg with a 2 p.m. start time.
And a little back-to-back there going to PA. And another thing I love about the sport is just the different amount of schools that this team competes against.
Indeed, there's a
doesn't matter what size, what division other schools are in other sports. There's going up against the best of the best.
There's a lot of schools that have been involved in this sport. As obviously, as we mentioned before, it began in 2009, and it didn't have its first official event until 2011. But nonetheless, here come the Cougars for the synchronized heat.
Great execution throughout, as we saw on the Caldwell University Cougars side. Trevor, me and you both looked at each other and we nodded our heads saying that was a very good job by both teams in that heat.
We definitely gave a little nod. A solid performance by the Cougars. Really good timing and execution and great momentum going into the open heat here. And fans, don't forget, if you're watching on the CACC network, we'll be taking a short 15-minute halftime after this event. So don't go anywhere when we go to halftime.
Indeed, don't go anywhere as we get set for the open heat part of the pyramid event. As obviously, as is custom, the away team or visitors, as it should be noted, start out as Stevenson getting ready.
And do you think that's a little bit of pressure on the opposition or the visitors to start each event first rather than see what the other team brings out before you bring your own showing out?
I think it adds a little bit of pressure to both sides. It adds pressures to the visitors because you have to execute at a high level, but it also adds pressure to the home team because I believe if you see the visitors pull out all the stops and pull off a great event, it puts a lot of pressure on you to match and outdo them. And we'll see if Caldwell will be able to do that as the Stevenson University Mustangs take the floor.
Great performance by the Mustangs there. And again, not a perfect landing by any means, but a great job for her to hold her balance there and finish through with the routine despite not everything going the Mustangs' way. And hopefully the judges give them credit for that. And as we wait for the Cougars' performance here.
Indeed, as you mentioned, outside of that one little slippage, very well executed by the Mustangs as we saw. And particularly when you're in a 6-point match like they are in right now, every point goes a long way, so we'll see how much the judges will factor that in as we're getting set soon for the Cougars to take the floor. As they get set for the open pyramid.
Of course, the pyramid, the final event in the first half of this meet. And athletes building these 3 layers in a structure, as we mentioned. And the officials looking for good entry, stability of the structure, and a smooth dismount that ends with a good catch or landing.
Indeed, we'll see if the Caldwell University Cougars can capitalize on that as they now take the floor.
Hear this crowd, they were on their feet, and we are too. An excellent job, as we've seen by this team, and we see Coach Amira Boyd immediately goes over, hugs some of the athletes, and the scores will be entered in very, very shortly. Very good job, and a very solid first half to this meet that we have seen.
A very good job indeed, and great job on that event. Number 12, Nicole Lopez in the back, counting the timeout and keeping the routine on track. Always a hard position because you're not maybe in the pyramid, but you're the one, you're almost the conductor of it, you could say.
That is a great point. Very good point indeed. As we are now in our 15-minute halftime, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back soon with the second half action. You're watching live on the CACC network. Nick Caldwell and Trevor Spinelli. We will be back soon.
Welcome back to the Newman Center, folks, in this acrobatics and tumbling meet between the visiting Stevenson Mustangs and the home Caldwell University Cougars. The scores are in. And currently, after 3 events, the Caldwell Cougars lead the Stevenson Mustangs by a score of 74-67. The individual heat stats for that event: the Stevenson Mustangs had a 7.3 in inversion, a 7.8 in synchronized, and an 8.6 in open, while the Cougars had an 8.6 in inversion, 7.5 in synchronized, and a great 9.2 in open. 24 points there for the Mustangs of the event total, and 25 for the Cougars. Extends this lead to 7.
Indeed, it was a great showcasing by both teams as we have about a minute and 40 seconds left before we get set for the second half. And we start off the second half with the 4th event, which is the toss. The toss event is an aerial event with a group of bases tossing one top in the air. The top completes a flipping and or twisting skill forward or backward. 2 of the 3 heats are solo tosses with 1 synchronized heat. Each heat may score up to a perfect 10 with a total combined score in this event of up to 30 points. So we said before, no team is really out of this, and we are seeing so far that this may be kind of the Caldwell University's event as we get set. And the 3 heats will be the 450 salto, the synchronized, and then the open portion of the toss.
And the synchronized toss, of course, features 2 toss groups, and these groups should look exactly alike and be in sync. The start value of the toss depends on skills that the top executes in the air, as you were alluding to before. Officials will look for extension at the top, the height of the top when executing her skill, the top's body position, and tight catches by the base. We've mentioned throughout this meet how important the balance has been and how important these landings have been to try to keep it as perfect as possible. Things that the judges are looking for throughout, as we about 20 seconds away from getting underway with the second half, and this is where things are really heating up, Nick.
Indeed, things are heating up to an intense amount. And, well, Trevor, as we always say before, you can save the date as the Caldwell University Athletics Golf Outing. It is set for June 17th at Preakness Valley Golf Course in Wayne, New Jersey. More info to follow soon on Caldwell social media and the athletics website. I would like to believe that you will see me out there.
I will most likely be out there with you, my partner.
Out on the links. It'll be a fun time. And speaking of a fun time, let's get back to some more fun acrobatics and tumbling action, as here come the Stevenson Mustangs to begin
the 450 salto
in the toss event.
And phenomenal execution by the Mustangs on the 450 salto. Man, seeing the flip come down, there's such little, error, such a little margin of error.
Indeed, a very low margin of error that we're seeing by both teams. You have to be well executed, and we saw that right there from the Mustangs. Very well, great execution by the Stevenson Mustangs in the first portion of the toss event. We'll see how the Caldwell University Cougars will respond. And for Stevenson, who just finished up the first heat of the toss, it was Annabelle Rousseau, Mariana Ruiz, Emma Brenzak, Kara Warner, Robin Scroger, and Allison Ozemic, who completed the first heat of the toss for Stevenson. And coming up now for the Caldwell University Cougars, in Heat 1, it is Piper Fitzmaurice, Janessa Morales, Alexa Bain, Isabella Garcia, Alaya Cardone, and Nyasia Gums. That is number 9, number 10, number 15, number 5, number 8, and number 3 in the order. And here we go. The Caldwell University Cougars get set as they take the floor. Don't go anywhere, folks. Let's tune in to see how Caldwell will respond to Stevenson. Very good execution that we saw by the Caldwell University Cougars. And a great job in the first portion of the toss as it comes to a conclusion. As we get set now for the synchronized portion of the toss.
Great execution there by the Cougars. And picture yourself as Piper Fitzmaurice there in the air, coming down, having to trust your teammates catch you.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, we say this all the time. It takes an insane amount of courage and skill to be able to perform some of the things these women are doing today. And it's been really fun to watch. And the crowd certainly have had their joy with it today. We saw earlier before in halftime, both teams were doing warm-ups, getting ready for their routines, whatever. And the crowd was having a ball cheering on both of these teams doing some of the actions that we saw.
They were, and they've been energetic and cheering both teams on. And Stevenson Mustangs coming on now for the synchronized heat of the toss.
Indeed, a huge group for the Mustangs. Here we go. That was a great job that we saw from the Mustangs. Very well executed on the synchronized. You have to be well synchronized in the synchronized portion of the toss. And we saw that there. Great execution that we saw from the Mustangs. It's going to be exciting to see how the Caldwell University Cougars will respond. On the Stevenson Mustang side, who just completed the synchronized toss? Well, here we go. Number 3, Alexis Fortier. Number 7, Emma Brenzak. Number 10, Trinity Poltrak. Number 18, Marissa Werkaiser. Number 23, Kiara Warner. Number 9, Kayla Yeager. Number 11, Jada Jacobs. Number 12, Peyton Marston. Number 16, Mackenzie Estes. Number 14, Allison Ozemic. And number 24, Robin Scroger. Just completed the synchronized portion of the toss for the Stevenson Mustangs.
And number 12, Marston from Caldwell, New Jersey. So a homecoming for her here for the Cougars. Indeed, for the Cougars. The lineup, Nick.
Indeed, the lineup for the Caldwell University Cougars in Heat 2. Number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice. Number 10, Janessa Morales. Number 15, Alexa Bain. Number 5, Isabella Garcia. Number 8, Elia Cardone. Number 1, Katence Vining. Number 24, Samaya Mosley. Number 14, Mariana Aiello. Number 22, Janice Jackson. Number 12, Nicole Lopez. And number 3, Nyasia Gums.
Extraordinary execution by the Cougars. Great landings and catches on both of those back flips. And got to imagine that'll have a high score.
That was incredible. Me and you, Trevor, we both looked at each other.
Mouths wide
open. We were stunned by what we just saw. And also, here's something to note. The scores have come in for the 450 salto. Stevenson finished out the 450 salto heat with a score of 6.45. And Caldwell, amazingly, with an 8.0 score.
So nice advantage. Nice advantage for them to kick off this heat. And
that is a great point to make, a great advantage. It's always good when you can score big early. Gives you a lot of momentum riding through. As we get set now for the third heat of the toss, which is the open. Again, as we say, a maximum total of 30 points can be scored. As Stevenson University will come out as number 9, Kayla Yeager. Number 10, Trinity Poltrak. Number 11, Jaden Jacobs. Number 14, Peyton Marston. Number 42, Allison Ozemic. And number 2, Mariana Ruiz will get set for the open portion of the toss. And a great job by the Mustangs, as we saw, very well executed, great landing as well. And the Mustangs, a great job to finish off the toss. And we'll see how Caldwell University is going to be able to end off the toss round. As in Heat 3 for the Cougars, number 13, Samantha Mealy. Number 24, Zamaya Mosley. Number 14, Mariana Aiello. Number 22, Janice Jackson. Number 22, Nicole Lopez. And number 7, Jill Riggio will get set to step out onto the floor and get ready to round out the toss portion.
I feel like the toss portion has just flown by here. Such exciting action by these women on the floor. And after the toss, well, we will only have 2 events left.
It's going to be fun to see. And here come the Cougars as they step out onto the floor to round out the toss. Ladies
And
and
you hear
gentlemen,
some claps from the fans here.
not only is claps from the fans, we up here in the booth, we just got to give both of these teams a round of applause. That was an excellent round, an excellent event in total. And the scores will be coming up shortly in the toss. As before we mention the scores, we would like to say, if you are somebody who is interested in Caldwell University, they conduct campus tours and information sessions that are happening all the time. There are great ways to learn about the programs you're interested in, hear from current students about the Caldwell experience, and tour our absolutely beautiful campus. You can visit caldwell.edu/events for details.
And of course, as you mentioned, we conduct campus tours all the time. If you want to know a little bit more about the university, Caldwell University is a Catholic university in the Dominican tradition with about 2,300 in enrollment in Caldwell, New Jersey. We were founded in 1939 and achieved university status in 2014. Caldwell is ranked as the best value school in New Jersey, and out of recent grads, 95% are employed, enrolled in grad school, or in a service program. Just great numbers, and watching the athletes here perform for both teams and the Cougars, how can you not be interested in a school like this?
Indeed, and also a very interesting thing to note, the scores have come in from the synchronized portion of the toss. Stevenson University finished with a score of 7.15, and Caldwell amazingly finished with a score of 7.8. So a very close round that we saw in the synchronized portion. And we will see very shortly what the scores will be looking like for the open. And then the final event totals. And then we will update you again on the team scores in just a few short moments. But what's coming up next? It is the tumbling event. The tumbling event features powerful, synchronized, and individual tumbling passes. Athletes may compete in one synchronized pass and in one solo pass. Passes feature a variety of salto and twisting elements and are valued for the difficulty of and the connection of those skills. 3 synchronized and 3 individual heats construct the tumbling event with 10 points each for a maximum of, get this, Trevor, 60 points for the event. So a huge number can be scored in this event, and this could really change the tide of this match.
A very huge number indeed, and the tumbling portion of the event featuring many, many heats compared to the last few. There's duo, trio, quad, aerial, 6 element, and open. That is 6 different heats, 10 points maximum each, going up to that 60-point total, as you mentioned. And the scores are in. As you mentioned, the previous scores for 450 salto and synchronized for the toss. The open, the Stevenson Mustangs ended with a 7.6, and the Cougars an 8.2. And the event totals for both teams, Stevenson with a 21 and the Caldwell Cougars with a 24, which means the Caldwell Cougars have extended their lead in this meet to 10 points. It currently stands Caldwell 98, Stevenson 88.
Very tight race, and we mentioned before, as we said, 60 points. That's going to be the real kicker. You get 30 extra points now for this event, and we will see how this goes, and the Stevenson Mustangs get started on the duo.
Very solid execution and synchronization on the duo. Self-explanatory. The duo will have 2 competitors, the trio 3, the quad 4, and so on from there.
Indeed, as we will say for the Stevenson University in the duo, that was number 1, Annabelle Rousseau, and number 10, Trinity Pollock, or Poltrak, pardon me, who completed the duo portion of the tumble. And very soon we will see the Caldwell University Cougars step out. And who is doing the tumble for the Caldwell University Cougars, you might say? Well, that is number 8, Alaya Cardone, and number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice. They will step out onto the floor and complete the duo tumble very, very shortly. As we hear the music being played in this gym, there's a lot of dancing going on, a lot of fun energy we are seeing here in the Newman Center. A very great crowd, as we have mentioned before. And it's going to be intriguing to see how the judges are going to score this round. Because again, as we said, that's 60 points. That can turn the tide of this match in one fell swoop. Great execution by the Caldwell Cougars. An excellent job on the landing.
As they go over and hug their coach, and Myra Boyd, proud of those two women who just hit that duo performance. And
hitting that duo.
Little victory lap there.
Indeed, hit the duo to perfection. A great victory lap, as you said before. As we get set now for the trio to step out for Stevenson. In the trio, it's going to be number 2, Mariana Ruiz, and number 16, Mackenzie Estes, and maybe a third. We will see who steps out as part of the trio portion for the Stevenson University Mustangs as they get set to take the floor and be ready to fly. Nick Iacovo and Trevor Spinelli still in the booth here. We hope you all are having a fantastic Saturday. Here come the Mustangs for the trio portion of the tumbling event.
My apologies on the previous description of the trio heat. These two women went out there and hit 3 flips to flawless perfection for the Stevenson Mustangs.
Indeed, incredible job all around, as we saw from the Stevenson Mustangs. And here come the Caldwell University Cougars as they get set for their portion of the trio. As in the trio, it's going to be number 7, Jill Riggio, number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice, and number 13, Samantha Mealy, as they will get set for their portion of the trio tumble.
Stevenson electing to go with 2 there, and both did a phenomenal job. And
indeed, and don't forget, in these events, it goes also based on the total you can have in it. So we saw in the trio, Stevenson going with 2 instead of 3. The maximum you can have in a trio tumble is 3. And
that is a great point.
And we'll see soon in the quad, maximum you can have is 4. Caldwell electing to go with a full 4 squad, while Stevenson will go with a squad of 3.
And now you got to think about if that'll affect the judges' scoring. If they think it's more impressive and more risky to go with more women on the floor versus a lighter number, depending on the execution of the heat.
It is something to note, but here come the Cougars. And a great job, as we see from the Caldwell University Cougars. Great execution, being able to stick the landing. Excellent job all around, as the quads will be getting set to step out onto the floor. For Stevenson University, their quad portion of the tumbling will be number 2, Mariana Ruiz, number 9, Kayla Yeager, and number 24, Robin Scroger, will step out onto the floor for the Stevenson University Mustangs in the quad portion of the tumble. Trevor, me and you both looked at each other right after that trio portion for Caldwell, and we both said that was really well done by both of these teams, particularly Caldwell University.
So well done, and just phenomenal balanced way to, twist their bodies on some of those flips is just out of this world. The contortions that those women pull off. And we have the scores in for the duo portion. Stevenson at a 7.5 and the Caldwell Cougars at an 8.2. So good start here for the Cougars in the tumbling portion of this meet.
A great start, and we'll see now how the Stevenson University Mustangs will respond. We read out before the names for the quad as the Mustangs will take the floor, and here they go for the quad.
And a very great job by the Stangs there.
Great execution, as we mentioned before. Great job by the Mustangs to really cap off a solid first 3 parts of the tumbling portion. And we'll see how the Caldwell University Cougars will respond in the quad. It is number 1, Katence Vining. Number 7, Jill Riggio. Number 5, Isabella Garcia. And number 14, Mariana Aiello will step out onto the floor for the Caldwell University Cougars. And then sooner or later, we have the second part coming up right after that of the tumbling. That includes the aerial, the 6 element, and the open.
And our scores are in for the trios, and I wondered how having less women on the trio for Stevenson would affect their score. They actually got a better score than the Cougars, just hitting their moves flawless, or a little better than the Cougars. At a 4.6, the Mustangs scored in the trio, and the Cougars only a 3.5. So low score for both teams in that heat, Nick.
We'll see. We said before, maybe less is more for the Stevenson Mustangs. We will see how that will affect them, as they also went with a less amount in this portion. And here come the Cougars for the quad. And an excellent job, and we see a lot of hugging, a lot of smiles.
And that's got to be as perfect as you can get.
That was about as close to perfection as you're going to find. Great job all around by the Cougars. And an excellent job as that will wrap up the first 3 heats of the tumbling event. As a big announcement to be made, as Caldwell will host the CACC Women's and Men's Basketball Championships on March 9th and March 10th, the quarterfinals at the home sites on March 5th. Then the semis and the finals will be over here at the Newman Center. Visit caccathletics.org to follow the standings all season long.
Can't wait for that, and hopefully, one of our teams or both will be here, and we shall see. But regardless, going to be some great college basketball action, and right now we have some great acrobatics and tumbling action. Our scores for the quad is in, and we'll get those to you shortly. Stevenson about to start the aerial here. And what a performance.
Trinity Poltrak putting on a show for Stevenson. Number 10 did a great job in the aerial. Let's see how Caldwell University will respond, as Piper Fitzmaurice has a lot to live up to.
And you see that the celebration that the Stevenson Mustangs did after that, the same exact one the Cougars have done the last 3 heats. So you can't see it on the screen, but we can see it on the right side of us. And maybe a little jarring for position, a little shot at the Cougars.
It could be, but we will see.
Competitiveness, is key, especially in a sport like this. Love to see the girls getting motivated. As you mentioned, here comes number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice for the Caldwell Cougars to hit the aerial portion of tumbling, a solo performance.
Very solid. After that, though, we will see the 6th element by Stevenson. It'll be Mackenzie Stess, who will step up big for the Mustangs. But first, Piper Fitzmaurice for the aerial tumble. Here we go. And a near flawless performance, a rough landing, but nonetheless, what a performance that we just saw by Piper Fitzmaurice.
As you mentioned, an unfortunate landing at the end, but that aerial into the double handspring, couple backflips in between, a phenomenal performance from Piper. Unfortunately, couldn't stick it at the end, and that'll unfortunately dock the Cougars some points. And as we get on to the sixth element here, and go over the quad scores for both teams. The Stevenson Mustangs with a 2.9, very low score for the Mustangs, and the Cougars at a 5.7. So, as you mentioned, it could turn around just like that. Unfortunately, not for the Mustangs here. That is a 2.8 advantage on that heat alone for the Cougars.
Indeed, and we saw before a bit of less is more in the trio. It didn't work to the same effect in the quad, and we will see very shortly how the scores tack up in the aerial. But for the sixth element, it is number 16, Mackenzie Estes, who will step up for the Mustangs as she gets ready to step out onto the floor. As the crowd is eagerly anticipating.
Jerry Milani down there reading off the description of the sixth element. And a great performance. A little bowling celebration, a little Wii bowling reference, but nonetheless a phenomenal performance there. A double aerial into a boatload of backflips, and she stuck the landing indeed.
It was a great job, as we said, by the Mustangs. And we see very early doors the scores being sent in for the aerial.
And that was Mackenzie Estes there on the sixth element.
And for the Caldwell University Cougars, we'll see how number 7, Jill Riggio, will respond. After a very solid effort we saw by Stevenson, we will see how the Cougars can respond to that. And then after this, we have only one more heat in the tumbling. It is the open. And we will see number 1, Annabelle Rousseau of Stevenson go against number 8, Elia Cardone of Caldwell University. But first, Jill Riggio is about to step onto the floor.
And I really love these last couple heats that we're seeing, the aerial, the sixth element, and the open. It's a lot of pressure on the single girl that's going out there, but it's so much fun to watch, seeing them contort their bodies like they have been. And here comes number 7, Jill Riggio for the Caldwell Cougars. And that is flawless from Jill Riggio.
And you see the excitement on her face. She was very hype about that. And this just woke up this crowd. A great job by Jill Riggio. And an amazing six-element performance we saw by the Caldwell University Cougars. And speaking of scores, the aerial scores are in. For Stevenson, it is a 6.825 for the aerial. And for Caldwell University, it is a 7.2. So a very surprising number that we are seeing by both of these teams as we get set now for the final heat of the tumbling event, which is the open. This crowd, a lot of anticipation as they are ready and set for the final portion of the tumbling event. And then we get on to the main event, which is the team event. Or as we said before, a total score of 110 points is the most you could score.
110 possible points indeed. And even if Stevenson still finds himself down after this heat, 100%, well, they will have the capabilities and opportunity to pick it up in the team. And a great showing there from Annabelle Rousseau.
Great job, as we saw, by Stevenson. Well executed. Great landing as well. As we will get set and to see how Elia Cardone will respond to that.
as we patiently await Elia Cardone here to top off a tumbling event. And she's going to hit the open, and she's going to hit the open floor here.
And here we go. Elia Cardone, this crowd is excited, cheering her on.
Starting her steps. Great performance by Elia Cardone. A passionate hug to her coach, Amira Boyd.
Coach Amira Boyd, she was jumping for joy after that routine. She was very excited about that. We are up here too, as that will conclude the tumbling event. As we are getting set for our main event, which is the team event. But first and foremost, before the score is entered in, we would like to take this opportunity to thank our many sponsors and supporters. Caldwell would also like to recognize the following sponsors and supporters: Calandris Bakery, Graphic Imagery, and JAG Physical Therapy. And we would also like to thank our opponents for today. Stevenson University was founded in 1947 as Village Hooley College. In 2008, the college adopted the name Stevenson University to reflect its growing size, expanding mission, and breadth of academic offerings, serving over 2,700 undergraduate students as well as 900 online students. The university is committed to providing exceptional experiences, a connection to career, and a community centered on student success.
Of course, Stevenson University located in Owings Mills, Maryland. So not too far from here.
Indeed, as we are now getting set, the scores have come in for Stevenson's side of the tumbling event, as Stevenson finished with an event score of 36.65 with a total score now of 124, as Caldwell's scores are being entered in as we speak. But before we read those out, let's get ready for event 6, which is the team event. In team event, teams perform synchronized choreographed skills in a routine set to music.
I can't wait for this.
Each team competes up to 24 athletes. Routines are composed to showcase all skill sets that have been composed in the previous 5 events. This event has a maximum of 110 points.
And let's get you those scores. As my partner mentioned, Stevenson at a 36.6 in that event. The Cougars, 41 total points in the event to extend this lead even more than they already had. We'll go over each individual heat. The Stevenson Mustangs, a 7.5 in duo, a 4.6 in trio, a 2.9 in quad, as we mentioned a little moment ago, a 6.8 in aerial, 6.3 in 6 element, and an 8.3, a solid score in open. For the Cougars, an 8.2 in duo, a 3.5 in trio, a 5.7 in quad, a 7.2 in aerial, a 7.8 in 6 element, and a very solid 8.5 in open.
Indeed, as we're getting set, Jerry Milani, our sports and media director, reading out.
And this lead is going to go up to 14 here for the Cougars.
And first,
sitting 139 to 125 going into the last event. And first for the Stevenson Mustangs, to give you the team event roster, it's going to hit the floor. Number 1, Annabelle Rousseau. Number 2, Mariana Ruiz. Number 3, Alexis Fortier. Number 6, Emily Owens. Number 7, Emma Bresniak. Number 9, Kayla Yeager. Number 10, Trinity Poltrak. Number 11, Jaden Jacobs. Number 12, Peyton Marston. Number 15, Kai Jenkins. Number 16, Mackenzie Estes. Number 18, Marissa Werkheiser. Number 19, Ava Vaccarella. Number 23, Kira Warner. Number 24, Robin Scroger. Number 28, Bridget Corey. And number 42, Allison Ozemek.
Indeed, and for the Caldwell University Cougars, who is competing in the team event, it is number 1, Kitence Vining. Number 3, Nyesha Gums. Number 4, Naya Nieves. Number 5, Isabella Garcia. Number 7, Jill Riggio. Number 8, Elia Cardone. Number 9, Piper Fitzmaurice. Number 10, Janessa Morales. Number 11, McKenna Lanza. Number 12, Nicole Lopez. Number 13, Samantha Mealy. Number 14, Mariana Aiello. Number 15, Alexa Bain. Number 16, Brittany Solano. Number 17, Mariella Puccelli. Number 22, Janice Jackson McEachin. And number 24, Zamaya Mosley. As we are getting set
Coach Amira Boyd talking it over with her Cougars roster. Both of these teams and these rosters of women have put on an unbelievable show today. And of course, as always is custom, the visitors will start it off, and we'll see very shortly Stevenson hit the floor to perform their team routine.
And we'll hear that's each team's music choice as well.
Indeed, and this is only a 14-point match. So in all essence, Stevenson has everything to win in this game. They have everything to gain. In 14 points, they could easily pull off an unbelievable routine and possibly even win this whole thing.
And I think it's really unique how this sport has a team event, putting every single event in the meet together into one, basically kind of going full circle. Obviously, compulsory, acro, pyramid, toss, tumbling, team, final score.
Indeed, it combines all the best aspects of this match as we've seen today. And here come the Mustangs as they hit the floor.
Full roster on the floor for the Stangs. Little technical difficulties there with the music. Just stay patient with us as the athletes on the floor turning around, and here we go.
What a performance by the Stevenson University Mustangs. That was something to behold. An excellent job. Well executed all throughout.
So much action going on. So many shows of athleticism and partnering and synchronization together.
Great job all around. And we see nothing but smiles and high fives on the Mustang side.
It's got to be awesome doing that kind of event and that kind of collaboration with your best friends as well.
It's always rewarding when you have the payoff, when the event comes together so well. It's always great to see. And as we get set here, as we will very soon see The Caldwell University Cougars step out onto the floor.
And this meet has just flown by. I mean, they say time flies by when you're having fun, and we're having a blast watching this up here, calling our first action of acrobatics and tumbling, and Caldwell preparing for their time in the team heat on the floor. Of course, 2:45 on the clock for both teams when the team event starts. Well, really, when the music starts, 2:45 on the clock, and don't let it get to zero. Use all the time as you can and show the judges what you got. And it's really the essence of this sport.
We will see how the Caldwell University responds. That was an excellent routine that we saw from the Stevenson University Mustangs. We will see how Caldwell is going to respond after that. As we see Coach Amira Boyd talking it over with her roster, getting all these women mentally prepared to step out onto the floor. Again, this is their home debut of the season. We have a jam-packed crowd today. And this crowd, they've been excited all day to see what the Cougars have done. I think they're about to be blown away by what the Cougars will display now.
I think they are. Being around this campus so much, we see how often this team practices, and specifically practices the routine that they're about to show to the world. Everybody watching here on the network and eagerly awaiting this show.
Anticipation is building in this gym. See the passion we mentioned before, Amira Boyd, that's been one of the key words to describe her. It's been very passionate about this campus, passionate about her roster. And it's going to be exciting to see now how her team, they've been practicing this all year. We will see how they will perform now.
110 maximum points you can get in the team event. Just shows that, as we mentioned, can be turned around at any point.
And indeed, after a great performance that we saw from Stevenson, it's going to be very intriguing to see how Caldwell's going to respond. And here come the Cougars as they are about to take the floor. As we will get set. Some fun music's being played over the Newman Center. It's been a very fun and exciting day.
It's been such a fun and exciting day, seeing each woman dance, get hyped for one another, support each other. That's what these sports are all about, no matter what sport it is, working together, and at the end of the day, having fun.
Indeed. And we see Coach Amira Boyd once again giving him one last pep talk to her team.
And here we go. Another little technical difficulty there, this time for the Cougars. So kind of offset. So here we go.
An excellent routine we just saw by the Caldwell University Cougars. They definitely matched the Stevenson University Mustangs. Great job all around. The scores will be coming in just a moment. What a match it's been today, and what a way to finish it off.
What a match. What a way to finish it off, indeed. Eagerly awaiting the scores. And you love the sportsmanship, seeing the Stevenson Mustangs clap on and cheer on the girls of the Caldwell Cougars. And despite being oppositions, at the end of the day, they all play the same sport, and they all love it for the same reasons.
Indeed, we always do preach an incredible sportsmanship all around. And the scores will be coming in very, very shortly. And an excellent job all around, as we said, by both teams. As we see our sports and media director, Jerry Milani, walking down below as read on the PA announcement. Scores will be coming up shortly. And we see an amazing routine by the Caldwell Cougars. They left 3 seconds on the clock, so they still had maybe a little bit of time to do maybe one more trick before the time expired.
Well, I guess you don't want to push it too close, and 3 seconds, you can't really execute something too crazy in that amount of time. But that is a good point. They could have maybe went longer on one move. Maybe they rushed a couple once, but to us, it looked near flawless up here.
Indeed, it certainly was a near flawless routine to us, and it was a great job all around by both of these teams. And the scores are going to be coming in, as we mentioned before, very, very, very shortly.
This is really the whole event of the meet that just wraps it all up and gives either team a fighting chance, and each team just kind of surrounding each other, supporting each other, talking about what they did right, what might have not went correct, and, lifting each other up.
Indeed, and for both of these teams, this is, I believe, the first meet of the season for both of these teams. So obviously, you're getting out very early, shaking off the rust, and there was a jam-packed crowd today. I think the crowd played a big factor in how both of these teams executed today.
Indeed, and the sport does a great job of incorporating so many different sports into one, whether it's gymnastics, some aspects of cheer, dance, all different things. And you could just see the athleticism of each of these athletes. And this is a sport that should be taken seriously going forward, and I think it's going to keep growing and growing year after year.
You mentioned it. It's going to be growing and growing, and this is going to be a sport that, don't be surprised if in a few years' time, everybody in the world is going to know about acrobatics and tumbling. This sport has been something to watch. Last year, we had a ball watching these events, and now we are seeing that it just keeps growing and improving each year. And we see both sides eagerly awaiting the final score for this event, and then obviously the total scores for the match. You see the Caldwell Cougars are going to sit down in a little circle. A little bit of a prayer circle, as we see the Stevenson side also all huddled up. Again, as we've said before, it's always the anticipation of just waiting for the final score, all the hard work and all the practice that you put in to try to be able to win this. We'll see if all that hard work pays off. Both of these teams, though, have nothing to be ashamed about. They both put on an excellent show today.
Nothing to be ashamed of. Both brought their best and both delivered, not just for us in the booth or you guys on the you watchers on the CACC network, but everybody here in the crowd today, and brought it to the other team as well.
Indeed, both teams brought their A game. Of course, as one stands, only one can come out on top. And in just a few short moments, we will get those final score updates and read out who will walk away from this home dual meet, the victors of the first at-home match for the Caldwell University Cougars, as they had an amazing dual meet against the Stevenson University Mustangs. Can't thank
our opponent Stevenson enough for just bringing in an incredible set of athletes, but also a great crowd as well. Very respectable crowd.
Very respectable crowd indeed. A lot of visiting fans here as well. And just enjoyed every second of it. Stevenson, a 3-hour and 24-minute ride down south.
Certainly
And
was
they
a long,
certainly would like to go home with a win and high spirits.
Indeed, that will be a long bus ride, but we'll find out what's going to happen as we see once again. A lot of emotions are running high on both of these teams. We are seeing now the scores are about to be entered in. And we see for Stevenson, their score for the team event is a 64.67. Compared to the Caldwell University Cougars, 50.94, which means our final scores that are about to be read up by Mr. Jerry Milani, but you're hearing them first here.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
An unbelievable score.
And you see the score here put up on the CACC network, not yet set here in the arena, but the Caldwell Cougars with a 190.
A narrow.
The Stevenson
narrow
Mustangs 189.
A narrow victory. Look at the emotion. Coach Amira Boyd and this entire Cougars roster. Tears of joy are flowing.
You know, as I mentioned after the first event, just with the amount of points you could score in the team one, imagine how close this could be at the end of the excitement, and we just saw it live. Less than 1 point victory for the Cougars, Nick.
Indeed, and as we mentioned, this is a brand new program for Caldwell University. This
second year
was just installed last year, and for them to win a meet as competitive as this, and unbelievable. We mentioned before something called sports memories that will last a lifetime. I think for a lot of the women on that Caldwell roster, this is going to be a memory that's going to stick with them forever. An unbelievable victory. Coach Amira Boyd.
Congratulations, your first victory as the head woman of this team and head coach. And
indeed, that is Coach Amira Boyd's first win as the head coach, obviously. As the first win for Coach Amira Boyd here at Caldwell University. An amazing, amazing victory.
And the first win ever in Caldwell Cougars. School history.
First win ever for acrobatics and tumbling in this school's history. What a moment this is. It's been an honor to call this event with you. I've been Nick Iacovo. This is Trevor Spinelli as well.
Thankful to call this one. As we mentioned, first win in school history is remarkable. You just witnessed it live. Fortunately, Cougars went 0-6 last year, but guess what? They're 1-0 to start the season.
An unbelievable way to start the year. Incredible job. Congratulations to Coach Amira Boyd. Great job all around. Nick Iacovo, Trevor Spinelli. We will talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to the CACC Network.